Hello everyone. If I sound a little bit nauseous, I'm a bit sick. I just lost my voice the other day, so it's coming back. So yeah, this is a fair warning why I kind of sound nauseating. Anyways, so a while back I did a video about what remasters I want in the future. Now it's time for me to talk about what video games that I think should be remade from the ground up. With that being said, there are some things I should address. Obviously, I want these games on both 8th and 9th generation consoles. The ideals I have for these games are super crazy and probably left field. If you watch my Adventure Remake video, you know how imaginative I can get. Although I don't really care. Without further ado, let's begin. I can finally get to talk about my second favorite Sega character, which is White Star. Now, if you ask me, I feel like Christian Whitehead's team, or Evening Star, I believe they're calling themselves these days, should be the ones to develop this remake just so they can work on something that's not Sonic for once. With that being said, I want the sprite quality to be on par with Sonic Mania. For the gameplay, White Star should have a run button to make him go faster and should be given a new attack, which I would like to call the Clap. Think of Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. This will be helpful to incoming enemies coming off screen. The bosses definitely need to be a bit harder, including the final boss. White Star deserves a remake because, why not? He honestly deserves it if Alex Kidd can get one. Plus, he's an awesome character. Now, with Nintendo and Microsoft kind of being buddy-buddy right now, I feel like we need a remake of Diddy Kong Racing. Now, the graphics could take inspiration from Mario Kart 8. We should add the DS version characters back to the roster, like Dixie and Tiny, while also bringing back Banjo, but this time with Kazooie, and Conker, who is now a bit more like himself from his games instead of being cutesy. Some new characters I would love to see added in a remake of Diddy Kong Racing would be Kiddy Kong, Chunky Kong, Lincoln Kong, Funky Kong because of Mario Kart Wii, King K. Rool, and Gruntilda. It will be great if you get some new tracks along with an online mode with friends and strangers. Also, I think it would be great if there's more customization for our vehicles like Mario Kart 8. I feel like since we had a DS version, we should call this remake Diddy Kong Racing Returns. Cause you know, like Donkey Kong Country Returns. Get it? Okay, I will stop. Banjo and Kazooie deserve a remake of their first two games. Grunty's Revenge will be a bonus game after you beat the remakes included. Now, this remake needs to happen due to the resurgence and the revival of the duo in Smash. And, like Diddy Kong Racing, Nintendo and Microsoft are buddies now. It would be great if this remake was on the Switch and the Xbox Series X. I want the graphics and art style to be comparable to Super Mario Odyssey, which will look really pretty. There should be some new jiggies for us to collect in these games. Also, Grant Kirkhope will be great with doing the music for the games again. I feel like Rare can remake this game, but with some help with new blood here and there. A remake of two Mario games. And that ain't gonna happen. Anyways, we have Super Mario Lands, which is a reimagining of the first two games combined into one adventure. The reason why is because Super Mario Land 1 is super short to the point you can beat that game less than half an hour. Also, story purposes. If you read the manual to Super Mario Land 2, it stated that Tatanga kidnapped Daisy to distract Mario long enough for Wario to take his castle. The story of 1 can easily transition to Land 2 after rescuing Daisy and beating Chai Kingdom / World 4. Now Luigi, Toad, and Toadette are playable for multiplayer like the NSMB games. And Mario Maker 2. Also, it's time that we return to Mario vs. Luigi mode, but this time it's free for all with 4 players. Also, the bosses need to be way harder because you can easily cheese them and they need more attacks. Why I want this remake to happen is because I want a 2D Mario game that isn't Mario Maker or New Super Mario Bros. And just a new fresh style for 2D Mario, despite it being a remake. I think I'm not the only one who wants this to happen. I want Mario RPG to be remade because of the lack of Mario RPGs nowadays, and we need a savior. Please, Square, help us, please. Now, I want to call this remake Super Mario RPG Legend Retold. Anywho, if you want to talk about the art style in this game, it should keep that claymation look to it, while the menus and other artworks should have that Mario Hoops art style. This remake should give all the 5 characters some new abilities, which would be awesome. Also, we need more bosses, like optional bosses, to fight. And I think one cool optional boss fight is the return of Kulex. Now at first, it's the same old fight from the original game, but all of a sudden, one last thing that would be cool to see is a Luigi side story, where we get to play as Luigi and see what he was doing during the events of the main storyline. Okay, so before we go to our last remake, I want to say that these are some other games I want remade as well. So here we go. Finally, we have a full-on remake slash reboot of Star Tropics. Star Tropics is like the most obscure and forgotten Nintendo game that I can think of, and like other franchises like F-Zero, it needs a comeback. However, I feel like the series should be treated like a new IP so it can get a lot of attention. To reboot this franchise, I think it would be wise to reimagine the first game to see how well that would turn out, instead of remaking the 2 games into one cartridge. The writing of this game should be more story focused and should have a tone similar to that of an adventurous TV show like DuckTales. Rest in peace. This is modern, but since it will be written or inspired by a 90s TV show, instead of chapters, we should use episodes, which would be charming honestly. Also, a really cool thing that would be great is that if you beat an episode, turn off the game to take a break, then return to it, Mike will give you an episode recap. Think of what the Sonic Adventure series did back in the day. I think that the game needs voice acting, and my personal pick for Mike Jones is Josh Keaton, because he was such a good Peter Parker in the spectacular Spider-Man show. And I think his voice will really fit Mike. Okay, for the graphics and art style, the art style should take inspiration from the cutscenes from the NES game, but brought to 3D with the graphical power of Zelda U from 2011. To talk about gameplay, the game wouldn't be as puzzly like the original. If there aren't any puzzles, they would be similar in vein to games like Uncharted or the dungeons from Breath of the Wild. Now, to gain interest from newcomers, the original tile-hopping gameplay of the series sadly had to be abandoned. I feel like Star Tropics' new gameplay style will be an open-world action-adventure game, and plays like Ocarina of Time mixed with Uncharted. Subsea, or the submarine, will control like the boat from Paper Mario the Origami King. Mike will have 2 mandatory weapons, his yo-yo and bat, while all the other items he can use will be limited. His yo-yo will automatically target enemies, and with every upgrade, Mike can flick his yo-yo faster and will inflict higher damage on his opponents. His bat will act like a melee weapon from Breath of the Wild, but don't worry, it doesn't break. In this proposed remake, there are new side quests from the NPCs, and the bosses are much more difficult this time around, making us come up with new strategies to beat them. I want costumes for Mike to wear, like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. The soundtrack should be remixed, accompanied by new songs, and the main 2 composers I would love to see work on this soundtrack are Yoko Shimomura from the Mario Luigi games and David Wise from the Donkey Kong Country series. I think the best company to develop this remake will be Next Level Studios due to their work on Luigi's Mansion 3, and they did revive, well, for a really short time, Punch-Out! Finally, I will love it if they package Dr. Jones' letter again like the original NES game, but let's just say the player just happens to throw it away, because that's how we are these days, then Namco will just tell the player the code just so they can progress the game already after waiting 5 minutes. Then he says, I hope you recycle that letter. It will be funny, and I want the remake to keep the charm and the humor of the series. Then again, people are going to use the internet just to look up the code. Oh well. Yeah, I would love for Star Tropics to come back someday with a remake, since it's just celebrated its 30th anniversary this month. Well, there you have it, folks. Those are games I want remade, and I know these ideas are so crazy, but I can't help myself sometimes. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great holiday break. Enjoy family and friends. And I will see you next time. If you like this video, leave a like. Well, I'm not going to do that. Just do whatever you want. I really, thank you for the support. and I'm grateful for that. And I will see you probably next year, maybe sooner than that. I don't know. Yeah. Thank you for watching.